Good afternoon, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day from your favorite half Irish girl. Bet you guys didn't know I was half Irish, did you? Well, I am. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. So excited to be here with you. You guys, we are live on so many pages. I went and upgraded my StreamYard. So now we are live. Let's see, we're live on my personal page. We're live on YouTube. We are live on just about everything, but let me just make sure that it's not friends only because that would be bad. Nope, it's public. This is awesome. Okay, great. So anyway, my guest today for Wednesday Wisdom is so cool. And it's kind of serendipitous how we got her on the show. She and I used to be in a network marketing company together. And then we were in another network marketing company together. And then we kind of lost touch and we got back together and we've become really, really good friends. And she has just absolutely changed the way that I look at business and in life. And she's just this confidant that I have that I absolutely love. Hi, Sheena. Hello, everyone. Feel free to share this out if you feel like, it's something that will be relevant to anyone. I would really love for everybody to meet this gal. But enough about that. So anyway, she just brings this new level of confidence to me and my business. And she is finally listening to me and going out and becoming a coach of her own. And I'm going to tell you guys, you saw her here first, okay? You saw her on our show first because she's going to be in high demand before you know it. You will see what I mean when you hear her talk. Welcome the lovely and talented massive action coach, Amos Trombetto. Welcome, Amos.
That was really quite the introduction.
I've been told I'm pretty good at introductions.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that was really good. Hello, how are you? Hello, everybody.
I'm so good. So we have lots of folks watching in the audience, and we've now figured out how to make all the comments show up, so I don't actually have to look at
awesome. That's
so
awesome.
I kind of feel awesome. So if you look over to the, to the right, to the left.
Oh, I see it. Yep, got it.
You can actually see the comments. So that's really cool, right? How many times can you do that? I don't know. Anyway, welcome. So good to have you. So tell us a little bit about your journey and kind of how you got to where you are now.
So I am married with kids and have probably, I've worked most of my whole life. I pride myself on my first job being a newspaper route at, I had 11 customers at 11 years old, ended it when I was 13 and it with 150 customers. So I've always been very independent and go figure it out kind of girl. My mom is an immigrant from Portugal and, that European work ethic that I think that a lot of European families instill, being that she was, immigrated here when she was 15. It's just that European work hard nature, right? So I kind of grew up with like proud of my work ethic and you got to do it yourself and don't rely on anybody. And so I feel like that was always kind of ingrained into who I was. And it's something that I've relied on for a long time. And, I've been in the sales industry for a really long time as the top sales person for multiple companies and won lots of trips and all kinds of things. And then tragedy happened and my firstborn was stillborn at 38 weeks, threw me off my game, like off of life, and just was really just a really bad time in my life. And having to just go through that, you're 25 years old and having to go through this massive, I don't even know what it was, but this massive, the world pushed you down and you just wanted to crawl into a hole and never come out and literally crawl out of that. And so it literally changed my perspective on life a great deal. It made me become a much more emotional person and wanting to foster really good relationships with people. And of course, it also made me very scared in life. It made me scared when I became pregnant with my second son, my first live birth, right? My son, Henry. It made me really an overprotective helicopter mom. And I realized then that I didn't want to work for anyone else. I wanted to be home. That became my why. I want to be home with this baby. But it's not like the olden days where you can survive on one income. I mean, some people can, majority of us can't. And I always felt like I had to be like, I felt embarrassed asking for money. I felt ashamed, right? So I'm like, I got to figure something out. So, I think just that you got to figure it out really became the driving force of like, let's figure it out. And so, of course, we met in a multi-level marketing company, which I excelled at, and then transitioned into something else because, again, I wanted more control because I'm kind of a control freak. I want to call the shots. And then eventually end up into my own boutique, which was a 6-figure plus size only boutique. And then literally like 2 months ago, I've been doing that for quite a few years. And then that has completely allowed me to sustain my family, pull my husband out of his employment. I was able to buy my first house, get out of debt, like the whole 9 yards, did all of it. Very proud of that. And then Corona hit, changed my life again. And to be honest with you, the last couple of months, I was like, this thing that I've loved and has fed my family and is my sense of joy just stopped bringing me joy. And in true Amos fashion, I'm like, I'm done. And literally when I say those words, I'm done, there is a major grief that comes up and a major fear point. And then I just have to say, where do I start? I don't know. Let's figure it out. And so I just jump in. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I'm just jumping in and have to really kind of struggle, right? There's like a daily struggle where you have to sit here and say, is this my gut and intuition, or is this my brain lying to me and keeping me safe? And that's basically what it comes down to. So that's where I am now, that I'm taking massive action in my life with no game plan, which is usually when I do the best work. And I'm literally just jumping through the fire of fear and just saying, I have what it takes. I've started from scratch multiple times in my life. And so I can do this again. And I think that my mission has always been to help women really understand that their voice is the voice of power. And it's always been inside of them. But sometimes something vulnerable has to happen for them to remember that. And I don't want anybody to go through that horrific thing in order to find their power again, even though we all are eventually going to have those horrific things. So I think just remembering that it's ultimately you are always in control, and don't waste your time sitting on the couch because you have one life and it's going to be over like that. And you are here more than to just be friends and pop out babies and be someone's wife. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and I had kind of a similar situation. I was in a business organization in Boston. I worked for an education consulting firm, and then I met Will and I moved to Savannah, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to be a little housewife and we're going to have kids and it's going to be great. Within 6 months, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I have 2 degrees. I'm smart. I could be contributing in another way, and right. I'm spinning my wheels. So I started tutoring first. And then I was just tutoring people. Sheena's a big fan. And then I started tutoring people, and then I was like, and then of course we ended up in that other business, but I was like, I'm really good at business. And like, you don't necessarily even have to need to do it. Sometimes it needs you. Like sometimes it's just part of you. And so I love that you mentioned that, like, you don't have to just stay home and, take care of babies. If you want to, if that lights you up, there are some moms that my sister-in-law, right? Like she is all about some Pinterest projects and taking her kids here, there, and everywhere. I have no desire to do that. Like,
I agree with that. I agree that sometimes the roles that are projected to us at such a young age are to be like, that was what was put on my, the boys, the European family was the men get out to work, women stay home, do the housework, take care of the kids. And I'm okay with, I just feel like women don't get enough credit for how resilient we are with all the hats that we wear. Even if you don't have children, you still wear a lot of hats. And I think there's always that mothering nature, nurturing part that comes up, even if it's just you and your boyfriend. You're probably doing his laundry sometimes, or, cooking him dinner, and you like all those things. There's nothing wrong with all that. Right. I'm just kind of sitting here going, there's something inherently magical about who you are that doesn't require any of those hats. So can we take the time to put that hat on? Because that's the hat I think a lot of women all of a sudden don't realize. Then there's an empty nester, or they're 50 and 60 and they're like, what was this all for? What can I do now? And they're trying to reinvent themselves at a much older age, which is kind of, I feel like almost like me. Like I'm 40.
I was just going to say, you're kind of reinventing yourself too.
I'm reinventing myself. But I want to say, like, this is fun. Like, it's fun. Like, it's fun to not know where the money's going to come from. And I know that sounds really scary, but I have faith that I will figure it out.
Not for this little love attraction lover. It doesn't at all.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm just going to figure it out.
Surrender.
And,
yeah.
You know, and so I feel like remembering something inside of you where you were determined enough to figure it out is really where we need to just push everything out and just go right into that core. Because it's your determination, right? For your whatever it is that you want. That's what really you need to tap into.
So why do you think that people don't show up? Like we've been talking about taking massive action. Why don't people? I mean, if people want certain things in their lives, why don't they show up?
Well, I definitely think, well, everybody's going to say it's fear, right? But I almost feel like that's too big of an umbrella. I think it's the judgment, right? They're afraid to show up because they're afraid of the people that they care and love about the most. Literally saying, I don't think you can do this, or who do you think you are to do this, or why should we listen to you? You don't. Like, Amos, why should we listen to you about being a business? You're a high school dropout. Okay? Valid point. Absolute valid point. But I've also made multiple, 6-figure businesses work. And like, I understand it. Do I know it all? No, I don't. And I will never, but I'm still willing to keep learning and not, I think that just, again, that determination. Then I think there's like, the rejection, like literally jumping out to do something and having how many doors shut in your face is your motivation and your determination and that thing that you want to do greater than all those doors being shut. I mean, with Thomas Alva Edison, I mean, we all know that he worked on the light bulb like 1,000 times, and it was like 1,007 is when he got it right. He could not stop until he got it right. So
and he stole it from Tesla too.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I knew that, but I didn't want to say it. Okay. But anyways, so there's that. So there's rejection, like a fear of like rejection. There's a fear of judgment for sure. And I feel like there's the fear of starting over, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's scary. Like, and you'll know this whenever you have to go to a new job interview. Do you get super nervous and then you get hired and then you're like all weird for like 2 weeks while you're getting trained because it all feels foreign and new. Like I absolutely loathe that entire 2-week training period. That was for years a reason why I would not leave a job because I hated the anxiety of that whole newness. Mm-hmm. Right. So that starting over or sitting there going, oh, I can't believe I have to do this again. Like, just like all the time I put in, like, it's almost like the regret of the time you put in, like all this I had to do, all that. So you make these excuses, right?
Or having an audience watch you figure it out, like watch you have to trial and error because what you're doing is public. So you can't do it quietly. Right. You have to do it in front of an audience. Right. And having people watch you is kind of like unnerving.
Right. So I think it's a lot of things. And so for me, I know it's not judgment because I put everything out there. I'm very, very transparent. I'm probably one of the most honest people you will ever meet because I don't want to say there's no filter, but there really isn't because I understand that my vulnerability is a strength and being honest enough to put it out there that I know that I inspire other women to just be like, oh, I'm not alone in that. So I'm fine with sharing that. The rejection doesn't really get to me. The starting over doesn't get to me. So then I said, well, like, what is it exactly? And I think it could be, mechanics. For me, I definitely think it needs to look a certain way. It needs to be built a certain way. It needs to, I need to know all the processes. But then I sit there and I go, how many people said I need to get a degree? But I have to start with the degree. No, you go to school to learn the things. So why would we ever apply? Why would we be different when it comes to starting something new? And this doesn't have to be in business. It could literally be about anything. You want to learn to play guitar, you have to start at the beginning and not worry about the mechanics of, well, I don't have this exact guitar and this exact thing and this exact thing. Like, just freaking start.
Mm-hmm. So you talked a lot about your struggles, but I'd love to hear about like kind of, some of the things that you help clients with. So if anybody out here is thinking of hiring a massive action coach, like what's the difference between a massive action coach and just a life coach or just a mindset coach or a health coach, or what is it that differentiates you?
Well, it's me, right? So I think that's already the first thing, right? It's always you. And I think the second thing is I have real life skills that I've done myself. So I have started over multiple times in personal as well as business. So I think that's important because you want to work with somebody who maybe has been in the same pool as you a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then I think going forward is I'm very to the point. I'm very, very direct, and I can see through the red tape and your red tape. And I'm fine with like, I guess if you're ready for someone who's super direct and going to get to the point and get to the meat of it, because again, time is really, really important and we don't need to waste time. I mean, you sitting here figuring out if you want to do whatever it is you want to do is already wasting your time. So that's, I think the difference is I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth. And it's like, I want to dig into your feelings, but it's more like, let's get to the root of this and work up, right? Mm-hmm. We got to start in the dirt of it.
I love that. So if you guys have any questions for Amos as we go through this, feel free to throw them in the comments. I know we've had quite a few comments and luckily she can see them too. So that's awesome. Okay. So as you know, I'm a dream design coach. And so I'm always talking to people who designed and built their dream businesses. Like that's kind of the inspiration. And one question that I always like to ask is, for you, what do you feel like are like the deal breakers and the must-haves in your business? Like, what are the things that you absolutely, my business has to have this, and there's no way in hell I'm having this?
My business, my business has to have a level of honesty and integrity, period. No ifs, ands, buts. It also has to have trust, because if I'm putting myself 100% out there, you will know it. I mean, you can feel it right now through the screen. I come from here. I'm in here, but I come from here and I always operate in here. And I will be the first person to say, my heart is on my sleeve and that's exactly where it needs to be. And I don't have to worry about anybody hurting it because it's been through enough hurt already that it's been patched up multiple times that it's indestructible. Okay. But I'm going to leave it right there. You could try to cut it and hurt it, but it will repair. It will regenerate. I'm not worried about it.
I love when Gangster Amos comes out.
Gangster Amos. So I think that is like an absolute must for me. Like, I'm going to treat you like my equal. Because here's the thing. When you're working with somebody, I'm taking my heart and my soul and my mental faculties to pour into you, right? So I need that back for yourself. Like, I need you to give that back to me in ownership and accountability. And I don't need blowback. Like, if you don't like what I'm saying, we can have a dialogue about that. But at the end of the day, you hired me for a specific reason, to cut through to the core and get it done. So when you're sitting here blowing back on me on things that you don't want to own up to, then you may have just wasted our time. Because as far as I'm concerned, when I'm sharing my mental space with you, you take a huge presence in that, because the voices that I allowed to come in here have to be propelling me forward. Because if you're going to give me your own project your own fears onto me, that can actually cripple me. So I have to be I think all of us need to be very careful of what goes in here and what sits in here, because there's already enough of our voices. I don't know about you.
And also, not to interrupt you, but also there is that whole idea of being an empath and having that boundary, right? So like when you feel other people's emotions, now you happen to be an alpha empath like I am, so even more so than I am. So you have more of like a shell, but you still absorb it. It doesn't affect you in the same way, but you still are aware of it.
Yeah.
And so you, just as much as me, it's really important that you ground and shield and things like that. And so when we don't do that, then we have other people's emotions bouncing around in our heads, and then we can't tell the difference. And then that's where it gets, interesting. So another great thing that you bring to the table as a coach is you can tell you're really good at picking up and kind of shutting those doors to, okay, I can interact with this, but I'm not going to let it affect me. Yeah. And you're really good, at least with me, in like full disclosure, we kind of like half-ass coach each other, right? Like we're just in PMs all day coaching each other. We both got a great bargain though. And so she, she'll just call me on something and be like, no, like, stop it. And I'm like, blah, 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 and she's like, no, just, no. Yeah. And not everybody can do that. A lot of people are like, I know, but yeah, that's how I am, right? Well, maybe not so much with my clients, but I think I am with non-clients.
Yeah, I think there's always a time where you kind of skirt around things because you're not sure if the person on the other side can take it. So I guess I'm very, very transparent. I'm gonna call it, and it may hurt you, but I'm not lying to you, right? Like your brain is lying to you and it's keeping you safe on purpose. I'm not going to do that.
But it doesn't have to hurt you. When you say it may hurt you, nobody can hurt you without, you're the only one who can hurt you. Someone can say something. You get to decide, you get to react or respond.
Right.
To an NLP thing.
But I mean, I feel like when you jump into a coaching thing, you have to be ready for a mirror coming at you and be okay with looking at what's being dug up. Because that's the reason why you went into coaching in the first place, is because you may have a part where you're kind of like, I don't really know how to unravel this, or I need to get to the work here, and I'm maybe afraid to do it alone. And I need somebody with clear perspective to kind of get in there and kind of churn it around. Don't dump into that churning space if you can't handle what's going to be turned up. Right? Well, I have to be ready for it.
I think also some people get coaching just so that they can go, see, it doesn't work. Like I told you I couldn't fix this. Like I think there's a whole faction.
I don't believe that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're absolutely.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen with me.
No. What I mean by that is just that there are different people that come into it for different reasons. And so that's why it's so important that.
What a waste to invest in yourself and to get nothing out of it. That's somebody who really just didn't really want to do the work, period.
Or they were, they had blocks, or they were scared, or they had other things come. Ladies and gentlemen, real Amos.
Well, because that's a waste of time. When you start digging into your closet of stuff that we all have, we all hide, that closet will never be empty. Mm-hmm. Your mindset will never be perfect. Mm-hmm. Okay. You will always have fears. Right. You will always have talks in your head that do not put you to where you need to go. You will always have that for the rest of your life. But to sit there and invest in your money and invest in your time to dig into your space and to walk out completely unchanged, what a freaking waste of time. Why did you do that for?
I completely agree. So just to kind of give you guys an example of how this all works with Amos. So she and I came from this network marketing company, two of them actually, but the first one that we were in, I had a really tough time. And a lot of, there was a lot of trolls and like meanness. And I was really scared to really show up in my power because I was just afraid that I was going to, and she's just like, you have to stop thinking about that. Stop doing it doesn't matter. That was years ago. And I'm like, I know, but she's like, it doesn't, no, there's no, I know. Like, just go do it. And I was like, but I can't. And she's like, but you have to. And at first, it's like, it sounds so silly, but then you start to like break through and it's like, okay, did you go live today? Go live. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? Okay. How many times have you done this? And it's like, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need someone. Like, honestly, the most powerful coaches in the industry right now, where we are in society and in this dimension, are people who literally tell us what to do. Why? 2 reasons. 1, decision fatigue. There are so many different ways to do things. There are different methods. There are different programs. There are different processes. There are different coaches with different energy to come at it from different ways. how the hell is a person supposed to figure out which one to do? So that's the first thing, right? Decision fatigue, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, overwhelm. Like, we are wearing more hats as women than we ever have. I mean, we are responsible for so many more things than women in society ever have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then to throw on top of that, also running a business, also taking care of whatever else is going on, you know, and if you're a coach, it's almost like you've got extra children in a way, because you care about those people and you're invested in their lives. And so that's more brain space.
Right.
And so sometimes just deciding which task to do next and like what to go focus on, you just go, and then what do? Nothing. And so someone like Amos comes along and goes, okay, all right, what's on the list today? All right, there's 6 things. Okay, great. Go do 3 of them and then get back to me. You know, you're going to go live. Okay, great. Go live, do this, and then come back.
Right.
Like, did you drink?
Well, I definitely agree with all of that. And I think that, remember I said there's like a fear of the mechanics. I feel like when part of the mechanics is goals, we're afraid of our goals, but we also look at goals completely wrong. And we sit there and say, I need to have daily goals. I need to have goals. Oh, goals. No, you need to have a target. I think the words that you use are really important. So for years, I always said, like, my business is a Rubik's Cube, and I'm constantly trying to dial it up because I like the visual of that, because I'm someone who wants to figure out the Rubik's Cube. But there's a whole bunch of people who, like, the Rubik's Cube scares them. Like, I don't know how to figure it out. I get mad and throw it across the room. So that would never be a good image for them to associate to their business or their life or their problems. So then I started thinking, well, with stairs, well, I'm a plus size woman. I don't like stairs. When I think of stairs, I think all the way to the Empire State Building. That is not a goal that I want to climb. Okay. I don't want to do that. So when someone says, oh, just climb the stairs or climb the mountain, that picture of a goal on the top of the mountain does not work for me. What works for me is a straight line. All the way at the very end, it's fuzzy. The heat is coming off the road. It's kind of there. But all along is those mile markers on the road, right? Targets. And when I think of the word target, I think of a bullseye. And I go, tink, right there, tink. It is very, very laser focused on purpose. And so it is imperative that when you decide to jump into something, that you have a couple of quick targets that you can hit, because that gives you momentum to keep trying and going after what it is that you want to go, period. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why you should have a coach, because they are help you be accountable. Like you said, they'll help you pull away the madness and get some of those targets, and so that you can feel momentum and you can start to feel it. And they're actually someone who actually in one way has your back, that although you're paying them, they're going to give you real honesty in a different way than you would have in your own circle of friends. Because when you have your own circle of friends, they're also going to put their fears of stuff on you, which gets inside your head because that's your friend and you value their opinion. Completely different to have clear outside perspective.
I love that. I think that's so good. So let me just double check all the different places. Okay, so the comments are coming through. Do you guys have any questions for Amos? How do people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you about working with you?
Just Facebook, friend me and message me. Everything's on Facebook.
Okay, awesome.
Or AmosTrombetto@gmail.com.
Okay. And as you guys know, there will be an after party thread. So you'll be able to meet Amos in the group. If you're not already in the group is called Dream Building Entrepreneurs, right here on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/groups/unstoppable dreaming. So go ahead and go in there. And that is where she'll be hanging out all day today to answer questions. But just today. So make sure that you get those questions in. If you have a question that you don't necessarily want to ask in front of, I don't know how many people are going live to right now. 2,000, 3,000, 10,000. I don't know. Math was never my forte, y'all. So if you guys have any questions for her, you can definitely do that there. Any last minute thoughts, concerns, anything you want to say to the audience?
Well, I want to say thank you very much for inviting me on. That's very nice. I like your space. It's a good space here. It's nice to be around, people who are on the up and up with trying to change their life in their own way. And then, of course, be inspirational. It's nice to be around that energy because, as you know, social media can be pretty toxic and our own environments can be very toxic. So thank you for providing a really nice space where people can kind of gather and get what they need.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. It's been so great having you. Thank you so much for being here, Amos. And that'll do it, you guys, for Wednesday Wisdom this week. Tune in next week when I have another awesome guest. Until then, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace. Namaste. Happy St. Patrick's Day.